Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, don't worry. I'm going to bring you up to speed. At Steady, we do high volume handyman tasks. We have a remodel division. We do house flipping. Occasionally we talk about the business side of things. And today we're going to talk about shop storage. Here we go. Okay, you just saw a very fast clip of some of the new shop storage being built. As we go through this video, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do a time lapse or if I'll do a voiceover. It'll be just as a surprise to you as it is to me. So we'll see how that goes. When we're talking about shop storage, this is something that just like the org chart or just like the back end processes, at certain phases of the business, you have to break what you have and redo it. And this is hopefully going to be an ongoing video series that we do because we are very heavily in the process of redoing phases of storage, and we're in the growth pattern. And so as we grow to a certain level, things must change. We're also, which is a big piece of this, we're in a leased shop space, so this will not be our forever home. And we're a little hesitant to build very permanent structures, one because of growth, two because of where we're headed as a business and to a new building at some point. But for now, what I want to talk through first is kind of how we got started with our storage solution, why we chose what we chose, how we've had to adapt. And then I really want to give you, kind of put you all at ease, I guess, to say it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start somewhere and get it going. And example of that for us, behind me, what you're seeing is our very humble beginnings of storage and what's about to be changed in the video, some of it. But when we got started, we were leasing this office, and when we moved in, we were very much in the middle of business. And so we didn't necessarily have the luxury to just plan out a fully custom build because we didn't know how the shop was going to be used yet. Kind of like a business, you have to let it run and tell you what it needs for a little while. And so we rocked along with this setup for 6 months to a year, kind of changing some things, adding some things. But what ended up happening was, and it's common with a handyman business, we do a lot of things. And so we need a lot of different specialty tools, a lot of different random inventory. I'll go into that in a second because we're not big on holding a lot of inventory. It's dead weight. But we have a lot of things going on in a small space. And what ended up happening was a lot of our storage systems ended up being kind of a catch-all. You know, we had this shelf for one thing, this shelf for another, and it's very confusing, not easy to find things, and there wasn't a great system. There's labeling, but it was maybe not being watched as much or policed as it should be. A lot of stuff ended up in the floor that was heavier items, and so one of our culture points, this is worth noting here, we tie a lot of things back to the culture points at our company. So this is important for the customer to hear as well as anybody else that's working on maybe the same thing. Assuming we're not discussing financial data and doing like a P&L management decision, a lot of our decisions run through the culture point of how we run the business. And so one of our big ones that we talk about almost daily is be easy to work for, easy to work with. So why would you want to have efficient storage? Well, for us, being easy to work for and easy to work with, the easier our storage is and our setup is to find the materials that we need, pull them off of a shelf, put them on a truck and get out the door, the easier it is for our guys to work here. It's not hard, they don't have to think about it, everything is in its place, every place has its thing. Well, if that's the case, we can certainly get out of the door a lot faster in the mornings, we can plan for projects a lot more efficiently, and materials flow a lot better. So for the end user, the customer, you get a lot easier experience of working with us. Tech is happy, their day was easy, your day just got easier. It's a win-win for everybody. So as we look at a growing company, we're looking at levers to pull. This is a big lever to pull in our type of business. So back to the humble beginnings. What you have here is kind of how we started. This shelf over here, I'll walk a little bit as we do it. This shelf over here was kind of the middle section was for jobs that were coming up. The top section was for returns that need to go back to Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever we're going with them. This was a paint match section, so anything that had to have a paint match, here was the material to go do that. Purchase request form. Up here is uniforms, hats, things like that, with a big note that says, don't take any of my hats and shirts. I know you like them, but we got to ask. Okay, sorry. Down here was cleaning stuff and then catch-all. Over here was more of what we would call working inventory. So we have a caulk box with a dummy-proof chart of what to use when, fastener box, some sort of catch-all box, TV mounts, light bulbs, cleaning supplies, plumbing, electrical, hardware, gate parts, and then random stuff up top. Not a lot of flow. That's still got to be fixed, by the way. And this is more of the daily dump table. So batteries, in-house tools that we use while we're here, marketing swag. Why is it not over here? Couldn't tell you. Not a very good system, right? So the goal is to start to give more shelving, more dedicated space. We've got a very high building here, but we don't really want to build the mezzanine because we won't be here forever. So how do we utilize the space for us now? Here's the thing. This is phase one. There will be a phase two. There will be things screaming at you in this video going, why not do it that way? We're going to, I promise. Stay with me. Now let's kind of walk around and look at some things that we're changing, some things that we wanted to add. I'm going to show you one more shelf of the old system before we get there. All right, here's another shelf that has a few things on it. This one here, if you'll remember, was what we call working inventory. This here is more tools. And so we have kits, internal shop kits. Not all of our vehicles are rigged out with everything you could possibly need. We have one that's got pretty much anything you could need to go do. Table saw, miter saw, drywall, paint, doesn't matter. Take that vehicle, does everything. Most of them we try to be lean and nimble. And so we keep these kits here. This is a drywall kit, paint kit. Here is the tile kit, which is gone. And if we'll look and see, somebody checked it out on 12/30. So there's our checkout board. Yep, dry erase, there it is. And then each box has a, we'll go through this later, maybe I'll show you some more stuff on this, but it's got these little, what am I trying to say? Contents of what goes in their inventory list of the box. So we have this, then we have specialty tools. So rotary hammer, hole saw kits, big large ratchet set, you know, for all the wrenching that we do. Little small drain snake. This is a motorcycle lift that we use for picking up heavy over-the-counter microwaves or garbage disposals. Makes one-man installs really easy. We'll do a video on that. Craig jig stuff. So just specialty items that we don't need all the time, and then random paint that makes its way back here. So this stuff is starting to migrate to another section that we've built, as is the inventory piece. So this setup worked great for just the handyman side and for our first 6 months in business. But the more people we get, the more jobs we get, the more materials we keep on hand for jobs that are coming up, the more space we need, especially remodel. You start getting, of course, bigger bulk stuff shipped to site, but I'm looking over here and I'll show you in a second. There's a stack of tile, there's some mortar for upcoming jobs, there's some specialty lumber that we're holding until we're ready for it, so you need bigger storage. Now, I'll pause here and talk about inventory for a second. We don't really want to keep just a ton of stuff sitting around. It's kind of dead weight, but we do want to keep enough that we're not having to run to the parts house or the supply house or whatever all throughout the day. That burns up some clock too. So there's a sweet spot for keeping like mass amounts of deck screws and things like that, and caulk that we use on a daily basis. We'll keep that in stock and pull from it as we need it, and then we have an ordering system for it. Or we use a lot of LP SmartSide, and that particular product, nobody around here stocks it heavily for us, and so we order it in semi-bulk because we use it pretty regularly and we want to have some on hand, and when it gets to a certain point, somebody orders, we get more, right? And then, of course, we'll get into the lumber storage in a second that is like, what do you do with all of the lumber? We have such a hard time throwing it away. So we've got somewhat of a system. If you're listening to this and you've got a shop and you've got it tricked out a good way, I would love for you to leave a comment showing us what you do. We're always trying to adapt and learn. If you've got a home shop, if you're a customer listening to this and you've got a really good system, call me. I want to hear about it. We make it adapted here. All right, let's move forward to some of the shelves, and then I'll get to showing you maybe some more videos, or maybe I'm inserting them here and I'm talking about them. Don't know. It's a surprise, remember, for both of us. We're on this journey together. And maybe I'll drink a little coffee as we talk. All right, so this shelf here, this piece is going to go with that when they're ready to start. Nobody can reach that but me without a ladder, so that'll be interesting. See how that goes. This, we built one of those. I've always wanted to have a set of these cool slide-out bins. I think that's really neat. Makes it a lot easier for pulling stuff. We have some of those bins on the humble beginning shelf, but they're big. They're really heavy. Bad idea. These are smaller. You can't put as much junk in them, which is a big piece of storage for us. What these are going to turn into is, you remember those kit boxes I showed you, tile, drywall, paint, those will live in here. I like for everything to look the same. I'm a little OCD that way, so I want all the same color boxes if I can. Just looks neat when you look in here. So that's what's mostly going to go in here. And then eventually right here, you can't see it, but we're going to change the way we do screws, and we're going to have a bin set up because we do keep a lot of bulk screws and lags and gate parts and things like that. So we'll have a bin set up right there. And then here's the ladder for the folks that vertically challenged that need help getting up on the top shelf. This was just finished as of this video 1 day ago. So we are literally not even sure how to use it all yet. We're still working through that. And here's the point that I said earlier I want to make again. That's okay. You don't have to have it perfect. You just have to have it. It's kind of like the systems video I did on the business. Link here, go watch it. Or maybe it's down here. I'm not sure I know how to do that yet because I'm so new at this. But you don't have to have it perfect. You just have to start doing it. What I saw yesterday when we started building this out was as we got done with it and we're admiring the work that got done in a pretty short amount of time, everybody started having ideas. It got the bug going, right? So you just got to start. All right, let me move you over here and we'll look at this rack. So these are 16 by 24, 16 foot, 24 inches deep shelving. They're attached, they're not going anywhere, they're super sturdy. And again, we're not really sure exactly how this is going to be used just yet. We have our longer material right now stored out of the way because phase 2 of this will have a slight mezzanine structure that goes over and lands over here, and we'll store 16 footers up top to get them off the floor. Right here, this is material for a job. Bulk floor coverings, plastic, bubble wrap on occasion, tarp on occasion, roof paper, hilarious. We don't do roof work. I don't know why we have that. Little hardware mesh, we use that a good bit, and then insulation. So like bigger bulk stuff that we don't need very, very often. Up here, we're keeping weather stripping for doors, white and brown. We use a ton of it, so we buy it by the, I have no idea how many feet that is. It's a lot, but get a better deal doing it that way. Up here, stuff for the home show that we do every year, swag, you know. Pack out mods, so we run the red pack out systems in most places. There's modifications for that up there. Dryer vent hoses. Here's what looks like is about to become the drywall shelf, drywall slash drive-it slash mortar. Like that's looks like that's where that's headed. Ideally, what I want this for under here is for heavy things that roll, because nobody really wants to bend down and look for stuff under here. But if we could roll the pack out under here, or we've got a table saw and a miter saw on wheels, you could roll them under here and drag them out. That would be great and free up some storage. Larger gas equipment, you know, we use that for certain things. Gutter cleaning mainly when they're dry. We got a big hose attachment so you can stay off the roof. And then Quickcrete, and then there's shop vac. So you can see we got a ton of storage right here. And we have, ideally what we want to do is get most of the things off of the shelves back here, and we want to turn that section back there into an actual cabinet style shop. Now that we've got the remodel division kicking off, we'd like to have table saw, miter saw, dust collector, that going back there. Again, temporary shop, so it would be a temporary build out, but we will now, I think, have the space once we finish this section. Plus, I'm going to show you phase 2, what's coming. The one thing you can't see, let me change your angle real quick, is how we utilize this. So pretty regularly, one of our vehicles, this van, stays in the shop. Sometimes it goes home, but most of the time it stays. Most of the rest of the trucks go home with who's driving them. Doesn't change what I'm about to talk about, but this van stays right here. Nonetheless, even if it didn't, we want to be able to pull in here and offload, unload, load cabinets in, that kind of a thing. And so eventually what's going to happen is we think phase 2 will have another set of these 16-foot shelves that hit right here, about right here. And then there will be that mezzanine kind of a structure over the top to run the longer material, but then you'll have a galley coming through. But then this shelf that lands right here will wind up being the job-specific materials for upcoming projects. And that way you just pull right here and snatch them off, but then you've still got to walk around into here if you need bulk items, bulk inventory, kits to pack onto the truck. That's a thought. We're not real sure yet if that's for sure going to happen. Let me take you over here and show you storage on lumber. All right, so this gives you a little bit different view of the setup going that way, and you can kind of visualize. So this is on wheels, it rolls. We've had this at our last shop, so we've had this for like 3 years or better. What this is designed, what it was designed for originally, we didn't know what all storage we would need. And so we had different lengths, or we had these shelves, if you will, set up for different things. So like the bottom was for 16-foot tongue and groove was usually what was down there. We kept some of that in stock. This was for all pre-primed, trim style, square stock. This was for all LP. And then up here became a catch-all for shoe mold and quarter round, and there's a drywall corner bead, and then there's some 1x2 trim. There's specialty weather stripping. So like it became a catch-all, which is, we have to go through this once a quarter and pitch it really. And then this was for nothing but full-size cabinet grade sheet goods. So if it's OSB, like it's fairly cheap, you've probably already priced that in. We don't see a need to keep it. But full-size sheets, especially cabinet grade, should be kept. That's what went right here. Up top, looks like we got some pre-primed stuff too. Now back here, let me move you around and show you this. And then we'll talk about what's probably going to change and where we kind of struggle and where most construction companies struggle, I think, or most people with a shop that do woodworking struggle with scrap wood. So we kept these catch-all bins back here, and we kind of had a rule of 4 foot or higher depending on the use case. So door jambs, we keep 18 inches or better because we can cut those down or use those for replacing the bottoms of door jambs for PVC. Any sort of like specialty trim that we were using for something that maybe was a special order for a client, we'll keep a piece of it just in case, because we have a lot of repeat people that we work with. And then a lot of just random base down here. And it's like, well, you could go to Lowe's and get some of that, but we replace, like around showers especially, that just over time get a little water damage. We replace a ton of this stuff. And so having it right here is helpful for us. There's probably too much at the moment. And then we kept a little bit of treated and like just bigger stock stuff, because sometimes you just need a chunk of wood, and it is nice to have a few pieces of this laying around, just a big old nice solid chunk. And that's probably enough, right? And then here's a few pieces of deck board. Again, stair treads, things like that we replace regularly. Having a couple of those is good. And then you have these random offcuts for cabinet grade. Not sure if we should keep those or not. Now here's the thought. I would like to get this bin off of this and put it next to what I'm about to show you, and I think that's probably the next move. And then turn this into storing sheets of drywall, because we like to try to keep 4 or 5 sheets of that around, different sizes, so we can run and gun with that. And so this is probably going to move to another storage bin. So let me show you that section. Oh, I forgot I was wearing this hat. It's cold today. It's like 31 degrees, cold for us. Hope I don't look too goofy. I'm too committed now. This was also built yesterday. Shout out to JD, by the way, coming up with all this. This was his idea. But all of this that you see right here used to be on that rack I just showed you. Like, could you imagine all that sticking off, how hard that was to turn and move and maneuver? So now we've got it all stacked over here. Now the only problem with this is there's a lot of mixed use material stacked behind each other. Now tongue and groove, we don't use it a ton, but it's enough to keep some of this, or the Dutch lap siding, I mean, is what a lot of that is. And some of that we have to go like 30 minutes away to get it, so it's worth keeping some here. But like some of this is a little bit stacked up. We'll get there. But I want to have a section like this right next to it, I think, for these offcuts. And then, of course, yard tool storage. For now, this is okay. We'll just kind of keep that like it is. And then this back corner, I'm not even going to show it to you. Big, huge mess. We're still trying to figure out what to do with the ladders. We got a training set up back there. The infamous pool table that started working its way into a lot of our daily routine. It's how we train. It's how we talk. It's how we get people out of their element. You play pool. It may have to go back over there. But what we've done, I'll try to find a video of the before of all of this and let you see like just how cluttered it felt and how hard it was to maneuver in here. I can't tell you the world of difference it already feels like just walking out here, right? So let's recap this. And then upcoming, you'll see a big quick time lapse of all this build. Importance of storage. The importance is that you just start having some sort of a system. And then as you grow, be prepared, just like inside the business, be prepared that you will break the system at some point and have to rebuild it, and that's okay too. We, of course, had to wait a little bit longer than I would have wanted to. It was just harder to stop a full day, right, and start doing it. And plus, adding the remodel division really throws that for a loop on how we need to do storage. So for now, we feel really good about this. We're excited to see how much more efficient it makes us in the next couple of weeks and months. Yes, we're tracking it. I'll keep you updated on that. There's a whole other nerd side to the business that we hadn't dug into yet that maybe we'll start sharing some numbers and you can see some of that. Storage is a big piece of it. But for now, check out this time lapse. Let me know what storage solutions you've got that we can improve on, and we'll see you on the next one.
Little victory dance outro.